Hey, folks, it's time for our worm word of the week. This week, we're talking about nutrient cycling and how worms kind of play into that. So, what's the role of a worm? Well, the role of a worm is to create healthy soil. It goes around breaking down organic material and pooping along the way. It actually doesn't sleep, it's alive or awake 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It might stop moving, but it doesn't stop. It doesn't take a break and it's not sleeping. So, this whole time, it's doing all of that hard work so we don't have to as gardeners. Now, when it takes all of this organic material and it eats it, it turns it into microbial rich worm castings. What does that really mean? It just poops it out. And scientists have done enough research on it to see that they have the ability to be able to turn a little bit of microbes that they eat into a lot of microbes inside of their poop. That is how plants get their nutrients, believe it or not. Those microorganisms break down different things in the soil and then they release nutrients to your plants. And that's what your plants uptake. And that's how they become healthy and they have the ability to be able to grow all the things that they need to. Not all worm castings are created equally. Neither are all worms. The best thing to do is to have a variety of all of it because diversity is the key here when it comes to setting up a system that Mother Nature is basically when we're trying to replicate what Mother Nature is doing. Diversity is the key. We don't want to just stick with a monoculture. If that's all you have access to, then we use what we have because that's what we have. So let's say you want to use these worms and worm castings at home. How do we do this? Well, you can set up a bin at home. You can set up a worm bin. You can set up an in-ground system. I prefer the in-ground systems because they're just easier to maintain. There's a lot less you have to worry about. And I don't have to bring it into the house and I just leave it outside where Mother Nature just kind of takes care of that system on its own. So you can set up different types of bins. When you do have these bins, if you keep them indoors or you have a container of some sort, you're going to have to harvest those castings. And when you harvest those castings, you can use those in your seed mixes, in your bed mixes. You can add them to your plants. You can create an extract. You can do a multitude of different things when you have that. When you put them in the ground, though, you can still harvest them, but it's going to be a little different. You're going to have more organic material in it, bigger chunks and things like that. But you really don't have to add them to your plants in your garden because the worms are going to be going through distributing them all on their own. They're going to come back to that in ground bin, then they're going to go around and do their thing. So it's a lot more hands off. Now, if you're thinking, well, why do I need to use worm castings? I'm just using compost. There's a difference here. And we talk about this in the living soil community. There's four principles of a healthy living soil. It's air, water, food, and microbes. Well, microbes are the worm castings. Believe it or not, worm castings don't really have any nutrients in them. If you ever look at a bag at the store, the NPK listed on it is usually like 000 or 011 or 111 or zero point 0.5. It's really extremely low. And that's because there's no real nutrients in there. What you're buying is the microbiology. Where compost, on the other hand, is food. It's food to feed those microbes, right? So you got to have both of those if you're going to have a healthy garden, a healthy living soil system. And the last thing I'll leave you guys with is the benefits of having worms in the soil. Having worms in the soil just makes it so much easier. There's no tilling because they do it. The microbes you don't have to add in there because they're doing it. Uh, Aerating the soil, we don't have to. They're doing it. All of these things, they're redistributing organic material. They are doing a ton of different things. And if we put them into our gardens, they will do all of that work for us. So we don't have to. If you find this type of stuff interesting, go ahead and like, share, and or join our community on School for more tidbits information like that, or like for more tidbits of information like this. But that's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks.